Hey guys, just a reminder, my online course is Birth Story Academy, and you can enroll in it at birthstory.com. It's taught by me. You can be in your jammies. It's online. It's pre-recorded, and it has a ton of freebies and downloads. It's everything that you need to prepare for your hospital birth. So hope to see you in Birth Story Academy. Okay. What is the deal with magnesium? Magnesium chloride, magnesium glycinate, magnesium citrate. All we know as pregnant persons is that we're having trouble pooping, we're having trouble sleeping, we're having anxiety, and our legs won't stop moving and cramping. Okay. And there's so much buzz around magnesium, but I realized nobody really knows much about it or the why behind it or what product to actually buy. So today I found the owners, Tiffany and Mike of Magnesium Lotion Shop, and they have one of the best magnesium lotions for experiencing just the calm of all of that. So I brought them on the podcast so that we can learn all about magnesium today and how it supports your pregnancy, your postpartum, and your newborn and children's life journey. Okay? You ready to learn a little bit about magnesium today? Let's do this. What does a contraction feel like? How do I know if I'm in labor? And what does the day of labor look like? Wait, is this normal? Hey, I'm Heidi. My best friends call me Hides. I'm a certified birth doula, host of this podcast, and author of Birth Story, an interactive pregnancy guidebook. I have supported hundreds of women through their labor and deliveries, and I believe every one of them and you deserves a microphone and a stage. So here we are. Listen each week to get answers to these tough questions. Birth Story, where we talk about pregnancy, labor, deliveries, where we tell our stories and share our feelings. And of course, chat about our favorite baby products and motherhood. And because I'm passionate about birth outcomes, you will hear from some of the top experts in labor and delivery. Whether you are pregnant, trying desperately to get pregnant, or you just love a good birth story, I hope you will stick around and be part of this Birth Story family. Hey, Tiffany and Mike, welcome to the Birth Story podcast. We are talking about Magnesium Lotion, their product from Magnesium Lotion Shop today. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right. Everyone that's listening right now is I'm pregnant, or I'm on a trying to conceive journey or a fertility journey, or maybe I'm postpartum, and they're I've heard magnesium. They're but then there's pills, and then there's lotion, and I don't even know where to start. So I want to start right there, you guys. So welcome to the podcast. What is magnesium?
Magnesium is a natural mineral. It's found all over, the earth, but it's a mineral that our body requires for over 400 different processes in the body. In order to make energy from the food you eat, you need magnesium. In order to control the rhythms of your heart, to control the rhythms of the way your blood goes through your body, the way your muscles contract, and the way they relax, you need magnesium. It's the magical mineral in your body.
And we are so deficient in magnesium. Why is that?
Well, there's a lot of good reasons. The standard American diet is the most prevalent cause. We're just so used to McDonald's or processed foods, and that just doesn't have the nutrition that we really need, especially in pregnancy and postpartum. But you could even trace it back to farming practices and over farming the ground, just not really giving it the rest it needs. I really think it's probably more the food than anything, but also our body doesn't store magnesium very well. So if you're not consuming enough of the good foods, you're not going to have enough magnesium, but then your body's constantly needing magnesium anyway. So it's kind of like a lose-lose battle. You have to eat good foods, you have to supplement, and you have to do it all regularly. Otherwise, you end up deficient, which, like you said, the majority of the population, I believe it's over 2/3 of the population is deficient in magnesium.
Yes, I have a sweet little pharmacy here in Charlotte, North Carolina that I go to that is kind of like a local pharmacy, and you walk in and it says like the top 3 supplements all people need. And the first one is magnesium. The other one was omegas, and the third one was vitamin D. So things that we are just historically deficient in. Now, when we become pregnant, we become even more deficient in a lot of things. And there's a lot of reasons for that. The baby is taking resources from us, but also we are having trouble, especially in that first trimester, with nutrition. And this presents itself uniquely in life. Like you mentioned cardiac rhythm. Well, I learned about magnesium glycinate many, many years ago because I have an arrhythmia that I developed in pregnancy. And so that was one of the supplements, which was in pill form, that my cardiologist gave me. So can we talk about all the different types of magnesiums and their extensions, and which magnesium and extension is in Magnesium Lotion from Magnesium Lotion Shop?
Well, you mentioned glycinates. There's another one, magnesium citrate, which a lot of people will recognize as the powder that you take before you go to bed. We use magnesium chloride. And now there's several others that I didn't mention. There's malate off the top of my head. I think there's 7, 8, or 9.
There's a lot of magnesiums, which is why we're recording this podcast episode, because we want to narrow down what you need for your pregnancy and postpartum journey.
Correct. And we use magnesium chloride, which is kind of like the jack of all trades among the magnesium. That's one of the reasons why we use it. Also, because our lotion at magnesiumlotionshop.com, it's topical. So you put it on top of your skin. And there's a lot of types of magnesium that won't work with that method. But the reason we chose lotion to go through your skin was you bypass the digestive system entirely. So some of the negative side effects that come with the other types of magnesium would include gas, bloating, diarrhea, nausea, some things you're probably already experiencing when you're pregnant. No need to add to that. So with chloride, magnesium chloride in a lotion, you just completely skip it all, and it goes into your bloodstream, and you still get the great benefits of magnesium.
Okay, so now I have some big questions for you, because when my clients go to their midwife or their OBGYN, they are recommending different types of magnesiums for different problems. As an example, when they're having a lot of leg cramps or restless legs, I see more recommendations for the lotion. When they're having cardiac arrhythmias, I'm seeing them recommend more of the pill form of like the glycinate. When they're having trouble having bowel movements and are super constipated, I'm seeing them recommend the citrate, the magnesium citrate. And so can you just help the audience right now that's like, help, I'm having all of it, right? Like I'm having, an anxiety, insomnia. Yep. Those are other reasons that people are using magnesium. So the person who's listening right now that's like, yep, I can't sleep. I can't poop. My legs won't stop moving. I'm super anxious. Am I supposed to take 4 pills and the lotion? Like, can the lotion accomplish all of those things? And if so, what is our dosing? How much lotion would you use and on what part of your body?
Yeah, so our lotion takes care of all of the above. As I mentioned, it's a jack of all trades. So you can ditch all the other pills unless your practitioner tells you otherwise. You can ditch them, use the lotion. Our magnesium lotion has 250 milligrams per 1 teaspoon. So you can start with a teaspoon, and it's actually one of the highest potency magnesium lotions on the market. So you can start there, and we recommend putting it on your body in places that would normally see the sun. So like your legs, your arms, your back. Recommending to not put it on places that don't see the sun. So sensitive skin areas, like you would not want to put on the lotion and then take your contacts out. You'd want to wash your hands because, magnesium is a type, it's in the salt family. So imagine salt in a wound. Kind of don't want that to happen. But legs, back, arms are all great places. We've even seen on the feet. We've seen on belly. I've seen on the chest. If you're experiencing muscle cramps, then put it on the area that is cramping. So like if you have restless legs and they're just twitchy at night, which is what happened to me, then on your legs is a great spot.
Okay. Well, you just said happened to me. So
Yes.
when we're talking about Magnesium Lotion Shop, your company and the product Magnesium Lotion, which you can get directly from that website, you guys, I also wanted to let you know if you put the /birth story, you get a discount on Magnesium Lotion also. So magnesiumlotionshop.com /birth story. All of these links are going to be in the show notes. But I think you have a personal story here. Like, how did Mike and Tiffany end up in Greenville, South Carolina with a magnesium lotion company? Like, what did you do before this?
So my background is I'm an IT engineer. So I've been in IT for approximately 20 years. And when our second child was born, her name is Abby. She's 14 now. But when she was born, Tiffany, my wife, developed restless legs, and we didn't sleep in the same bed for probably a year or two. And I remember for months at a time, she would try different supplements, different I don't know, bedtime
Creams, lotions, sprays, like all the things.
everything. And then like there were even nights where she had like an exercise routine before bed where she would do like stretches and all sorts of stuff to help her legs calm down, but nothing worked. And then I think she read an article at one point that outlined the benefits of topical magnesium versus taking it orally and all this other stuff. And so she tried it in the form of an oil. She made some magnesium oil. And for those who are unaware of magnesium oil, that's magnesium chloride flakes and water. So Tiffany made this mixture, she used it, and we were able to sleep in the same bed. But the problem was the oil caused irritation and stinging on her legs.
Because the
It caused a lot of
saltiness.
redness.
Yeah, I would spray it on, rub it on, and just like move my hands and make some air, kind of like you're cooling your food or something, because
Yeah.
it burned so bad. But then I had to set a timer so I could wipe it off. It just was not very pleasant to use.
Okay. So you were trading one problem for the other. It was fixing the restless legs, but
Yeah.
it was causing something else. Okay. So at what point were you like, we could make this into a business? I mean, so did you just start crafting different formulas so that you could have a solution for your own self?
So yeah, so Tiffany created her own little homemade balm type lotion, and it was effective enough at helping her with her leg issue, but it was on the greasier kind of balmy side to where, you would rub it on your skin, it would solve your problem. It wasn't too bad, but it still left a little bit of a film.
Yeah. And well, it left a little bit to be desired too. It didn't, like, I was using it because it was helping, but it wasn't like, this is the greatest product in the world, just kind of greasy and not my favorite.
Yeah. Now, Tiffany, had you done any blood work? Like, is there a panel to see if you're deficient in magnesium, or is this just an assumption that we're making when we're symptomatic that we're deficient in magnesium?
You can get a blood panel done. That's what I've read in my research, but I've also read in my research that it's not something that's usually done by practitioners. It's the symptoms that you present when you are deficient in magnesium could be caused by so many different things that practitioners just don't test for it. They probably should, especially in women who are pregnant postpartum, presenting sleeplessness and muscle cramps and whatnot. In my case, it really was a lot of trial and error. We were thinking, like, what is wrong with me? For the longest time, it was, what is wrong with me? And through all these tests or I should say testing with the creams and lotions and whatnot. And then we got to the magnesium lotion and it worked. And so for us, it was like, oh, if this works, then that must have been the problem. And then we just set out to make the formula the best formula we could make it.
Yeah. So how many iterations did you go through until you got to the one where you were like, okay, we're ready to bring this to market because we're proud of it?
So we're very fortunate as a small business we're on our second iteration and we like it and we're leaving it where it's at.
Okay.
The first iteration was that balmy formula that Tiffany created, and a lot of people loved it and they enjoyed it. but 70% of our customer base wanted a smooth, creamy, squeezable lotion that came in a tube. And that was from surveying all of our customers. And so we built that over the course of 2 years. We created that product. And in the formulation process, we tested every single magnesium lotion on the market. I mean, we were so relaxed for about a week because we were just trying everything. And
No
like,
anxiety at all, pooping
None.
perfectly, great cardiac rhythm, no
yeah.
restless legs. Yeah.
And my 70-year-old mom was visiting us when we had all of these different lotions arrive. And so she's rubbing it on too. And at the end of the day, we were just happy.
Yeah.
But to make a long story short, we formulated ours to be the least greasy because the magnesium can sometimes be a little bit tacky in your lotion. So we created the best, the smoothest, the creamiest, the least greasy formula on the market right now. And we firmly believe that we have the best magnesium lotion on the market.
Yeah. Well, and the reason we can believe that is because we've tried them all.
We've tried
Yeah.
them. Yeah.
Well, I will tell you, when Mike first reached out to me to bring this product to the Birth Story audience, I was thinking about each of you guys that are pregnant, actually. But you know, my kids, Max and Jagger. I know Tiffany and Mike, you don't, but the audience does. And Max has restless leg syndrome so bad. And we've been using magnesium lotion for a very long time. And I get frustrated with the jars because I have long fingernails and I like have to dig my hands into the jar and then I'm covered in it. And so they sent me a well, Mike and Tiffany are they, you guys, and they sent me this product and I was able to just give it to Max. It was such a child-friendly product because he was able to just squeeze a little bit into his hands, rub it into his legs. And mom was out of the picture. I have tried it on different parts of my body. I actually still am taking my supplement because it's from an arrhythmia. So I wasn't really cleared from cardiology to come off of it. But I've been adding your magnesium lotion. And, you know, I will say last night, like my sleep watch was like superb on great sleep. I'm excited there. And I had a couple of doula clients that I met up with this week and I kind of rubbed them down with your lotion also.
Oh,
so
nice. Yeah.
5 stars all around. Everyone said that
That's awesome.
that it just felt really good and kind of like a massage lotion. Not a massage oil. So I love that what you're doing. And I'm so happy to bring this podcast episode to the audience because I do think there's a lot of confusion in the market. And I think that pregnant people are looking for they're just looking for solutions or like, I want to feel better with all of the things that we talked about. And I think that going to magnesiumlotionshop.com, put in that /birth story if you guys want a discount and order the magnesium lotion. Now, what I don't know is is there just the one product or does my audience have a choice? Are there different scents? Are there different, I was going to say flavors, but I guess we're not eating it. But like, so are there just different scents? Are there add-ons or is it just the one product and they don't have to make a decision?
Yeah, so we currently have an original formula and we have a sleep formula as well, which it's the same formula, but with added lavender essential oil and melatonin.
Beautiful.
As well. For people who really have trouble sleeping, this really works. And we also offer magnesium bath flakes and magnesium oil.
Yeah, we've heard from several of our customers, while magnesium oil was not pleasant for me, we've also heard from our customers that they did enjoy it. So we wanted to make sure that it was available. And of course, we have some smaller options. And so for a lot of people, they prefer that for traveling.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited about the bath flakes too, because that is part of the self-care routine, especially postpartum, that I try to get people into that routine of like having a sitz bath and then having a longer bath and getting into a peaceful routine. Is there a minimum age that you would recommend? Because I just told you my children are taking it at 8 and 9 years old, but is there a minimum age where you would say for the general population at 250 milligrams per teaspoon to like avoid a dosage amount or a quantity amount? I guess what I'm
Yeah.
getting at is like, is there a weight ratio? Like, how do we dose this in babies versus children versus adults?
Right. So the National Institute of Health has given some RDA recommended daily allowance of supplementing magnesium, because technically that's what you're doing. In this case, you're just taking it on your skin rather than in your mouth. And when you hit 250 milligrams, you're looking at a minimum age of 14.
Okay.
So
Whoops.
if you,
Sorry,
if
Max
someone-
and Jagger. They're doing great though, so they're going to stay on their magnesium lotion.
Yeah, but if you're younger, you just use less. It's still recommended. For example, birth to 6 months, they recommend 30 milligrams, and if you're anywhere between 5 and 13, it's 130 to 240. The NIH still recommends supplementing as low as birth. It's just smaller quantities for smaller bodies.
Great.
Yeah, and on that same note, you were talking about kids. We are coming out with a kids formula. It should be released later this year. And I think you're really going to like it because it has the consistency of our original lotion, but it will come in a pump. So each pump will have, and it's not finalized yet, but somewhere between 100 to 125 milligrams of magnesium per pump. So it's designed kind of for that, like ages 4 and up.
Sure.
And it'll be regulated by pump. So the children can just one pump and then rub it on their feet or their legs and off to bed.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you a question you may or may not know the answer to, because I gave Max kind of free reign of this lotion and I didn't really go with dosing. I'm going to guess like he probably had 2,000 milligrams of magnesium, and guess what? No problems. Do we see any negative side effects to like having too much magnesium at a time?
The research is showing that there can be some negative side effects if you have kidney issues, but I have not read anything saying otherwise if you have healthy kidneys. Now, if you're taking a lot of magnesium citrate, for example, you're going to be using the restroom a lot, but this is in terms of magnesium chloride. I have not read any research with too much magnesium unless you have some kidney issues.
Okay, perfect. So like in my case too, I also wanted to ask you, like, and I understand, like, I'm not asking you as a doctor, like I could ask my cardiologist, but if I'm taking magnesium glycinate for anxiety, sleep, and heart arrhythmia stuff already, and I'm just adding the lotion onto my legs, do you see a problem with that? Does the NIH see a problem with that? That's okay if you want to decline to answer that question.
Well, again, in the research, I have not read anything that says if you're taking one kind, then don't take another. The research from the NIH tends to lump magnesium all together, unless you're specifically looking at a type, and then they'll go into that type. So I would say that their recommendation would be the total dosage. Okay. But of course, you'd always want to check with your practitioner just to make sure.
Sure. Okay. Well, I'm going to keep doing what I do, which everybody knows on this podcast, which is swallowing my pill and using the magnesium lotion. So I, Tiffany, came to magnesium spray, which was not great. When I was pregnant, I suffered terribly from these like leg cramps and just like restless legs and just irritability with sleep and all the things that you guys know I'm talking about because you're all going through it right now that are listening. And this is what brought Tiffany and Mike to build this company. I will say that the early products on the market, like the sprays, I'm here to say I'm not going to endorse them. I think you should stay away from them. I think it's weird and it's confusing, and dosing is confusing. Having a lotion where you can dose it if you want to by looking at that teaspoon ratio, that makes it a little bit, I feel like it makes it easier and makes me feel more comfortable. Like I said, I gave my kids free reign of it, but maybe I won't do that tonight. I'll rein it in a little bit down
back in that.
to appropriate dosing based on these NIH guidelines. But it is a wonderful lotion product. What I wanted to ask you was, do you see, my cardiologist told me to combine magnesium and potassium, that it's kind of like peanut butter and jelly, or turmeric and black pepper, iron and vitamin C. There are certain things that help you absorb the magnesium better. And so my cardiologist had mentioned like having your potassium levels and your magnesium levels, those two things kind of are in sync together. Have you heard anything else, like besides like eating a banana or adding anything else to magnesium to help with better absorption or activation of the magnesium?
I haven't heard anything in terms of better activation or better absorption.
Except for through the skin versus through the gut, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that probably solves a lot of the problem, right? Is like the absorption, like going through the skin, our largest organ, versus going through the digestive system with like the pills that you can take. But I just thought I would throw it out there because I remember very clearly my cardiologist being like, you want to eat a banana. Like there's twofold to this crampy, restless leg thing. It's like part magnesium and part potassium. And so
Kind of like the vitamin D and vitamin K.
yes, exactly. Yeah. So like make sure you're eating your banana and putting on your magnesium lotion at night. I'm very excited that you guys were on the Birth Story podcast today to teach us about magnesium lotion. Is there anything else that you guys want to share before we sign off?
I just wanted to share when we were talking about recommended daily allowances, because it's the birth story and a large portion of your listeners are pregnant, the RDA when you're pregnant is actually significantly higher. It's 450 milligrams. And I pulled a statistic that the average intake of a pregnant woman is only 35 to 50% of that. So pregnant women especially can be very, very low in magnesium. And as you mentioned at the very beginning, you know, you're growing a human, baby's going to take all of your resources. So it's just that much more important for mom to replenish those resources, not just for baby, but then for her, and then also to continue past delivery, especially if you're lactating, because again, you are a human making human machine, you know, and you need all the energy to do that. And magnesium is just so important with all those roles.
All right, Tiffany and Mike, the last question that I have for you is about sourcing and about where magnesium comes from. So I know you talked earlier in the podcast about soil and it being in our food as a source of energy, but where are you sourcing your magnesium? Where is it coming from?
Magnesium is a mineral that's found in the ground and in resources that are in the ground. So think lakes, oceans, salt beds, which you asked where our magnesium comes from.
Yeah, we source our magnesium for our lotion specifically from the Zechstein seabed, which is from an area in Europe. It's one of the best sources of magnesium in the world.
Okay, Mike, I hear you, but for my audience to like take that as fact, like why do you say that? Like why do you believe it's the best sourced place? What's different?
Sure. So when we first started producing magnesium lotion back in 2018 or 19, we sampled different sources of magnesium chloride to produce our lotion. So we had tried, you know, the Zechstein is by far the best. And then we'd sampled some off-label brands that didn't really have a source origination. We sampled some from the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea magnesium chloride is actually pretty good as well. And then we tried some stuff that was from, ultimately, it had beautiful packaging, but when you got down into the details, it was sourced from a lake bed in China. And it was the worst magnesium that we had tried. You couldn't emulsify it. You could not.
It didn't break down.
It was contaminated with toxins, right?
It was terrible. It was like these huge pieces of salt that just stayed huge pieces of salt, which should raise some red flags when you're trying to use it.
Sure. And again, going back to our skin being our largest organ, it's really important that what we're putting into your largest organ is ethically sourced and is safe and is good and is quality.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you guys are based in Greenville, South Carolina, and I've said it several times and you guys have said it several times, but where can my audience find this product so that they can start using magnesium lotion immediately for their pregnancy, their postpartum journey, and on their children?
Yes, you can go to magnesiumlotionshop.com. And if you add a /birth story, as you mentioned, you get a nice discount.
Excellent. Thank you guys so much for being here. I learned so much today about magnesium lotion. I know the audience did too. And I hope all of you guys will add magnesium lotion from Magnesium Lotion Shop into your registries. Tell people to buy it for you. Buy it for yourself. But I know 100% of you are suffering from one of the things that we talked about today. And this is a very easy, natural, and safe solution, and it is endorsed from the Birth Story podcast. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for listening to Birth Story. My goal is you will walk away from each episode with a clear picture of how labor and delivery might go, and that you will feel empowered by the end of your pregnancy to speak up, plan, and prepare for the birth you want, no matter what that looks like.